Let's just dive right into this explainer. We're going to look at how two ancient minds completely shifted humanity away from mythological storytelling straight into the geographic science that literally powers the smartphone in your pocket right now. We're talking about the foundational pioneers of this whole transition, the Milesian architects of mathematical geography. Okay, I want you to picture a world completely without maps. No latitude, no longitude, definitely no GPS. The sheer scale of the unknown back then was just staggering. For thousands of years, human beings explained the world around them exclusively through myths and legends. Mountains were literally seen as the homes of the gods, right? And things like lightning or earthquakes, they were just the wrath of angry deities. The heavens and the earth were just these massive mysteries that were totally beyond human measurement.
So how did we actually escape that mythological worldview? Well, to figure that out, we have to define exactly what was born in the ancient trading city of Miletus over 2,600 years ago: mathematical geography. This is the branch of geography that uses math, astronomy, geometry, and measurement to understand the Earth. And Miletus itself, it was this bustling, incredibly prosperous center of trade in modern-day Turkey. Ships were constantly bringing in merchants, sailors, and crucially, completely new ideas from all over the Mediterranean. It created the absolute perfect, curious incubator for humanity's very first scientific revolution.
Section 1. Thales, the first scientist, and the leap from myth to reason. Now, Thales had traveled extensively, really soaking up Egyptian and Babylonian science, but he wasn't just sitting around theorizing all day. I absolutely love this story. See, critics used to mock philosophers as these impractical dreamers. So, to prove them wrong, Thales used his knowledge of weather patterns to predict an exceptionally productive olive harvest. Before the season even started, he quietly reserved all the olive presses in the area. When that massive harvest hit and demand skyrocketed, he rented them out and made an absolute fortune. It brilliantly proved his point. Philosophers could become wealthy if they wished, they simply pursued higher goals.
His practical genius really laid the groundwork for measurement. He showed everyone that geometry could measure real-world objects. He most famously calculated the exact height of the Egyptian pyramids, using nothing but the length of their shadows. It's brilliant! He pushed forward surveying techniques, encouraged star observation for maritime navigation, and around 585 BCE, he reportedly even predicted a solar eclipse. But his absolute greatest legacy was deductive reasoning, actually seeking out general principles to explain natural phenomena.
In doing all of this, Thales proposed that water is the fundamental substance from which everything originated. Now sure, modern science has obviously proven this specific theory wrong, but the crucial takeaway here is that Thales was the very first person on record to seek natural causes instead of supernatural myths. His underlying method permanently changed how humanity viewed the universe.
Moving on to Section 2, a revolutionary mentorship between Thales and Anaximander.
Growing up in Miletus, right while Thales was becoming famous, Anaximander became totally fascinated by his ideas. And this formed one of the earliest known scientific mentor-student partnerships in history. This comparison brilliantly illustrates the unique bond they shared. While Thales was asking, what is the world made of, and using geometry to measure everyday objects, his student Anaximander dared to ask a way bigger question. How did the world itself come into existence? He deeply respected his teacher, but he actually had the courage to disagree and to radically expand on Thales' foundation by applying that geometry to represent the Earth itself.
For example, by rejecting his teacher's idea that everything came from water, Anaximander proposed this incredibly advanced, abstract concept called the apeiron. He argued that the universe actually originated from this limitless, boundless, and indefinite principle. So instead of just blindly repeating his mentor's ideas, he advanced them into pure theoretical philosophy.
Section 3. Anaximander mapping the unknown and bringing us a vision of spatial reality.
He completely transitioned scientific thought from abstract elements into systematic spatial reality. This timeline marks a monumental leap in human history. Look specifically at that middle point, right around 550 BCE. That is where Anaximander created the first scientific world map. Because before him, maps were largely just symbolic. He moved past those symbolic drawings and birthed true scientific cartography based on spatial relationships, which is an insight that eventually evolved into the latitude, longitude, and modern coordinates we use today.
It's actually kind of staggering to realize that in the 6th century BCE, a man deduced that the Earth floated freely in space without any physical support, just perfectly balanced. He described a geometrical, cylindrical Earth model, he improved the use of the gnomon to calculate solar angles, proposed natural explanations for weather and earthquakes, and even suggested that life originated in moist environments. He was literally trying to quantify the cosmos.
Which brings us to Section 4, their everlasting legacy and the birth of science.
Let's pull all of this together to understand why this actually matters to your everyday life. This isn't just some dusty ancient history. It's the absolute bedrock of our modern technological existence. What they accomplished here was the creation of the very first scientific generation. Thales provided the spark, Anaximander expanded upon it, and then Anaximander influenced his own student, Anaximenes. For the very first time in human history, knowledge was systematically passed down, questioned, and improved across generations. They formed the exact scientific process we rely on today.
And because of that systematic process, their ideas inspired a direct lineage of thinkers. We're talking from Hecataeus to Eratosthenes, Hipparchus, and Ptolemy. Literally every single time you pull up a digital map to find a coffee shop, calculate a driving distance, or navigate using satellite technology, you are benefiting from a direct, unbroken chain of geographical science that began with these two men.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder and debate. Does the true credit belong to the teacher who lit the spark and taught humanity that nature could be understood through reason? Or does it go to the student, the one who dared to map the boundless unknown and measure the Earth scientifically? Let us know what you think, and let's keep this 2,600-year-old conversation going.